In this video, I am going to be exploring the arcade in Loomian Legacy located at the Atlantean City Entertainment District. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel as only 2% of my viewers are subscribed, and it would really mean a lot if you click that red button. Without further ado, let's begin. Let's start with the Dodgy Dobo minigame. It is essentially a Flappy Bird reskin where the goal is to get as far as possible in levels. There is an incentive in playing this, as like all the other minigames, once you reach a certain threshold, you can unlock a Loomian saddle in the store. In this minigame, we have to get all the way to level 100. If you are like me and struggle with this game, here are my best tips. I had my best attempts when I was aiming to jump over the lower bar instead of going under the higher bar. This way, it's a lot easier to control your movements. Also, try not to pay too much attention to what level you're on because the gaps between the beams do get smaller, and if you lose focus, it could end your attempts. Once you do get to level 100, you unlock a Dodgy Dobo saddle in the store. I got to say, this saddle is super amusing. This saddle does work with gleamings as well. Next up, we have the disc drop minigame. Personally speaking, I hated this minigame. It was so mundane and so frustrating when I would run out of moves. It's a puzzle game and the goal is to match tiles to get a high score. In fact, this minigame was the reason why this video took so long to make. I had this video planned out when the two new minigames released in March this year, and now we are in August. The targets for this minigames are to achieve a score of 500,000 and the max score of 9999999. My tips for this minigame are as follows. Try to only solve the top few rows of tiles and slowly make your way down if there isn't any options on the top. Once there are possible moves in the top row again, you should go back to the top again. Also, when you get tiles like the ace discs or the bombs, try to push them to the bottom of the grid to the best of your ability, as they will act as a safety to reshuffle your whole board if things are looking bleak. Also, unless you are a hardcore gamer, I would recommend attempting this minigame once or twice a day simply because this game is super mundane and it's super time consuming. My winning attempt was about 50 minutes long. Once you do meet the targets, you unlock the Ace Disc Saddle and the Expert Disc Saddle. I'ma be honest, these suck. I worked super hard to complete this minigame, and to get spinning Loomy discs as saddle isn't an appealing reward at all. Let's move on to the newer minigames, starting with Zulong. This is a snake reskin and the goal is to reach level 100. You have to navigate the board so you don't hit yourself when eating the fruit, but every time you do eat the fruit, Zulong becomes longer, increasing the chances that you can hit yourself. The best way to beat this game is to travel row by row so you have more space to travel on the board. Realistically speaking, this is the easiest minigame in the arcade, so you shouldn't have too much trouble beating it. As for the reward, you unlock a arcade Zulong saddle. This saddle upholds the gimmick of Zulong moving like the minigame in the actual overworld, and that is pretty amusing. The final minigame in the arcade is Prope Pummel. Like the other minigames, it is a reskin of Whack-A-Mole. The player controls a hammer and must hit propes that randomly appear around the arena before they sink back into the floor. The player gains or loses points depending on the type of prope hit with the hammer. After hitting 4 gold propes, a king prope will spawn in the center that, when defeated, significantly increases the size and hit radius of the hammer for a short time. If the player did not hit the king prope before it disappeared, each subsequent gold prope hit will spawn the king prope. The target for this game is a score of 50,000, and in doing so you unlock the King Prope saddle. The game itself is pretty easy, simply hitting prope, avoiding the corrupted ones, and hitting the gold ones as soon as they appear will pretty much guarantee a successful attempt in a couple of tries. The prope saddle might be the best of them all, as it involves the player chasing the King Prope down, making it super hilarious. With all the minigames over, let's talk about the shops in the arcade. First up, we have the guy who sells you ticks in exchange for Robux. Finally, we have the main store, which sells competitive items like plushies, shells, and move manuals. They also sell Boonery, a Loomian that has the ability to transform into other Loomians, and of course, the saddles from completing the different goals in the various minigames. There's also a side quest where you can obtain LFH, which I won't be talking about because that involves leaving the arcade to complete the quest, and it's also well documented on. That is all I have for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel to see more content, and until then, see ya. Bye.